Hello, brothers and sisters. Hope you guys are doing well on your journey. I've been thinking so much about the different levels you have to go through to reach Creator when you're in this place. And the first three levels are evident. It's just, the first level is basically people who are just believing in government, believing in the system, just keep recycling and never really doing any work when they're here on earth besides, giving their energy to this demonic energy, this low consciousness. And they just keep doing it willingly and willingly. They obey everything, they do everything, they truly believe in it, they fight for it because it's just so important to them. And the protesters, all those type of people, voters, people who vote, all these people who have just been recycling over and over again, but yet they want to complain about the system and never rise above it. Those are very low level people, souls, spirits. Some of them are even soulless because they're just reincarnated so many times that they're just as bad as the demonic energy they talk against. And then there's the ones that wake up and start realizing they're being lied to, but they never get out of that frame of mind. They're just always chasing, what are they going to do to us next? What are they going to do, And then there's the other levels, where they start letting go and, they start realizing who they are and they walk away. But there's these 7 levels, according to the Gnostics, and you can look it up. I don't want to really particularly go through each one of them. But the first 3 levels, most people don't get out of, because they're in this reincarnation loop that they've accepted. And because the more you've reincarnated and not worked anything out, you can tell those are the people who say stuff like, oh, maybe my next life will be better. They've literally accepted this and being fed off of, and most people are 1 through 3. If you look at it, so look up those Gnostic 7 levels. I mean, it's really quite interesting. And that's why I'm talking about it, because I can see it. You can totally see it, the way it's broke down. And I think I'm between like a 6 and a 7, only because I've had these final experiences with the Creator of all things. And I don't know if that means because I had the experience, I'm already there. It's just very, it's one of those things. I'm willing to be at level 6. I'm willing to go to 7. And maybe that's why I'm still here. And that's why I'm talking to you. Because throughout my time here on this YouTube channel, it's been 7 years. A lot has happened and I have grown. But it's just amazing to me to think, like people are just being fed off of. And will continue to be fed off of. And they don't care. It's depopulation. They don't care if they get you one big group or they feed off of a small group slowly. And that's what they want. Because they're replacing the other people with AI, technology, robots. So it's more efficient, actually, when you think about it, to just feed off of a smaller group. And of course, they'll have more resources. And the groups 1 through 3 that are going to come back, they're just coming back. They're going to be part of it. They're going to be part of their new world. Meanwhile, there's a shift in consciousness happening. And it's quite amazing. A lot of people have already shifted to the 5th. They're still here. It's because this is an ascension. We're following it out. We need to be here to some degree to keep this planet, still rising up in consciousness. And I just think it's amazing when you think about it that so many people, and I mean, this is religious. This is people you might think are elevated, but they're not. I noticed that. There's a lot of good stuff sometimes you can watch, interesting stuff on YouTube. But then they'll have these like, ad breaks, and all they're promoting is putting your consciousness into AI, and it'll tell you exactly what to say. And I'm thinking to myself, why are you even bothering? Because you're 1 through 3. You're one of the groups that's 1 through 3. You're so tethered. You are going to be the next generation of consciousness going into the AI, as you're telling people right now about UFOs and spirituality, but yet you have an ad telling us we should put our consciousness into the AI. I mean, it's so contradictory, you know? But then I have to remember to myself, oh, here we go. Here's the 1 through 3. Here's the level 1s, the level 2s, the level 3s that are just taking up space. And they know it. That's why they allow these people to talk. They don't allow me to talk because I speak truth. And I don't need anyone to tell me what the truth is. I'm already in a higher consciousness that I worked for and I worked towards my whole life. I wasn't lazy. I took it serious. But I've only been here once. So I came here with purpose, for elevation and to keep the vibration on the planet as high as I could while I was here, and to help people and to grow and have experiences in this awful human world. So yeah, it takes a lot of work. I would look up those things because I believe it to be true because I went through it. I didn't experience level 1, but I already came in, at a higher consciousness. And that was my journey here. A lot of people are just going to continue because they're always going to be a victim. They're always going to have anger that they don't work out. They're always just going to have this underlying nastiness in them and this disconnection from Creator. And they'll want it, and they want it bad, but they can't get it. And that's sad. And that's what I have compassion for. Sorry, I cut out for a second. Much love. Bye.